Hello, hello. It is your Astro Coach Sarah here for Wellness Astrology, this time for the moon in Capricorn. This is June 12th and 13th. That was a pretty big full moon, wasn't it? How you feeling? How are you feeling? What kinds of things did you release? What energies did you feel resurfacing? I think I forgot to mention that that's the halfway point between the eclipses. And so the eclipses we experienced in February, March, and the eclipses that we will experience in August, September during Virgo season. So, yeah, that's that. So, pretty potent full moon. Now the moon is in Capricorn. This is an earth sign. We still have, of course, the building squares between Jupiter and Saturn, Neptune, and the building square between Mars and Uranus. So, shit's getting real. In some way, shape, or form, shit is getting real for you in some way, shape, or form. We could talk about all the geopolitical stuff, but things keep changing too quickly for me to keep up with that. But just know that as above, so below. Okay. And so by that, I mean, whatever is happening on the geopolitical stage is probably happening to someone somewhere in your sphere. You may or just may or may not know about it. Also, remember that astrology is objective, and therefore, just because it's not happening to you or in your life or in your geographic region doesn't mean it's not happening. Like there's volcanic activity happening with a few different volcanoes. There's earthquakes happening. There's weird storm activity happening. Just because you're not getting flooded or you're not getting tornadoes or you're not getting weird weather doesn't mean somewhere someone is not experiencing weird weather. So keep that in mind. All right, so you're going to want to know where 0 to 5 degrees of the of Cancer and Aries, possibly even Libra and Capricorn, particularly Capricorn with this moon in Capricorn, because that is going to create a T-square then between Capricorn, Cancer, which oppose each other, and Aries, which gives us the T-square. And so luckily this is a moon in Capricorn, so the moon's not as emotional here. Which could be good and could be bad. It could take the emotions out of the equation, therefore people making decisions without any thought or feel behind them. But could create tension, could create, in those areas of your life. So let's just say you are a I don't know what sign should I use as an example here. Let's use Libra rising because Libra is the completion of the T-square. So if you happen to be a Libra rising or you have planets and points between 0 and 5 degrees Libra in your birth chart, then if you have something in the 0 to 5 of Libra, then you complete the Grand Cross, right? So tension in your career house, which is Capricorn, your friends and family, your friends and relationships house, which is Aries, with Saturn and Neptune, and your home environment, which is Capricorn, which is your fourth house, and then your friends and your relationships, and then your work, which is Cancer, in your 10th house. So, of course, that's based on whole sign calculation, but you would have some tension between the people who you hang out with and your work and your home and where you're putting your attention and energy. And then you are the way out of that with the completion of the Grand Cross. So, some things could be coming up that way. So that would be for Libra rising. I just use that as an example of how you can look at your own chart and understand how that works. So we will have a brief T-square between Capricorn, the moon in Capricorn as it enters Capricorn, and Cancer and Aries. We also still have the building square between Mars and Leo and Uranus and Taurus, and the breaking square between Venus and Pluto. I don't know if I mentioned that one before, but that might have been some breakups or some power struggles in relationships with money, particularly related to money, things like that. And then now we have Mercury and Jupiter in Cancer. Jupiter's in his happy place in Cancer. It's just not going to feel like it for the first few weeks because of the square to Saturn and Neptune in Aries. So you're going to have to give it some time. I promise you, we're going to be happy to have Jupiter in Cancer over the next year and whatnot. So, just hang on tight. It's intense for the next couple of weeks or so with Jupiter and with other transits happening. We are building to a very intense weekend with the exact of the Jupiter Saturn square and the Mars Uranus square. So don't be surprised if over the next like 10, 15 days or so, like shit gets weird or, you get some weird, upset. You're going to want to know where 28 degrees or so of the fixed signs is: Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius. Um, that could create some sort of upset, that could create some sort of disruption or surprise, or it's Mars and Leo, so it's Mars, being a little egocentric, and Uranus in Taurus, so something to do with money and earth and material possessions. And then, if you've got something in Scorpio or Aquarius, you could have a T square going on. So like I said before, um, and just because you do not have a sun, moon, rising in any of those signs does not mean you won't be affected, because we all have all of the zodiac signs and degrees in our charts. What else do I want to talk about? I mean, they're all building, so it's kind of like, just, I guess, just waiting for the whole thing to pop. But also just keeping in mind that you get to focus on what you choose to focus on. So if you are focusing on the media and geopolitical issues, then that is distracting you from doing your own thing, right? It's just distracting you from, it's keeping you anxious, it's keeping you in fear mode, it's keeping you uncomfortable and unsafe because you're seeing what's going on out there. It's not your circus, it's not your monkey. Same with if this is going on with a couple that or something like that, or a business that Yes, compassion, but it doesn't have to be your problem, right? It can be their problem. And so, I think we all have bigger fish to fry. I think we all have, things that we're pursuing that are way cooler and way more fun than whatever the hell is going on with people who are fighting or people who are having a power struggle in their relationship, et cetera, et cetera. So keep that in mind as we move through this week. And so if you are feeling overwhelmed and things are very intense, take some time to meditate, take some time to intentionally calm yourself down, take some time to go get a workout in and move the energy through your body. Take some time to disconnect. Take some time to watch a funny movie or something like that. Read a book. Intentionally slowing down your nervous system, because yes, this energy is intense and it can overwhelm your nervous system. It can overwhelm your anxiety. It can overwhelm your depression. And so, these are good things that I've been encouraging people to practice for the last couple of years that I've been doing YouTube videos. Like, you have to create ways that will support you, to calm yourself down, to keep yourself self-regulated through this energy. So we've got about 10 or so, 10, 15 days here of intense energy. And then things kind of calm down for a minute, and then Uranus moves into Gemini. So, and then I would say by August or September, we'll get a little bit of different energy, but things are definitely on the move. Just remember that the Saturn-Neptune conjunction, it's not exact. They are very close, within a degree or so of each other right now, and they'll be that way for a few months here until I want to say September, and then they will conjunct exact in February of 2026. So we're with this for a long time, but the good news is with a conjunction of the first degree of Aries means there's something new and big and exciting happening. But the question that I would ask yourself is, are you preparing for it? Or are you just sitting around like, la, 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 la. Well, something new is going to happen. The astrologer said that. Okay, but I'm also a life coach. And I'm going to tell you that if you want something new to happen, you're going to have to let the universe know that you're willing to work for it. If you want something new and you want things to go a different direction, you can't just sit around sucking your thumb, eating your bonbons, hoping it's all going to happen. Yeah, it'll happen, but it probably won't go the way you wanted it to go because you didn't do the work. So go do the work. Focus on, let this Capricorn moon be a Capricorn moon. Capricorn moons are the get shit done moon. So go do some shit, make some shit happen. Take the chance, shoot your shot, all of those sorts of things. So let's see what's up with the tarot. Star Trek Next Gen Tarot. Hmm. This energy ain't gonna calm down. And even once the planets kind of calm down, because like the outer planets, meaning Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, Pluto's already in retrograde, they're gonna go retrograde. That's gonna pull things back a little bit, but that doesn't mean that there won't be work to do, and that doesn't mean that it's permission for you to not get after shit. In fact, the opposite, I would say. I would say whatever you are wanting to put into motion from the Mars retrograde earlier this year, which was the first of the year till February 23rd. Then we had the Mercury retrograde in March, and then we had that Venus station direct from in like most of April. It was like 3 weeks long. That Venus station direct conjunct Saturn, conjunct the North Node. Something surfaced for you during that time. That's the shit you need to be focused on. That's the shit. Maybe it was your well-being. Maybe it was your physical fitness. Maybe it was your nutrition. Maybe it was increasing your iron. Maybe it was getting a different job. Maybe it was your financial situation. Maybe it was your relationship. Whatever it was, that's what you need to focus your attention on and build something, create something, be of service to others. Let's see what we got in the cards. Sloop. Um, the lovers. Upright. Keiko and Miles O'Brien. Yeah, because you need to focus on you. For you to capitalize on Jupiter and Cancer, Jupiter and Cancer is exalted. It's his happy place. But for you to focus on that and to really capitalize on not only that, but Venus is currently in her home sign. So the benefics, Jupiter and Venus are currently in happy places. You're going to want to take advantage of it. It's not going to, I mean, Jupiter's going to be there for a year, but Venus will quickly move out of Taurus here in a few weeks. So my point being like, oh, and I think it's like June 20, or is it July 1st, the Venus conjunction Uranus, I think. I was only looking that up because of the degree for myself. But you're really gonna want to focus your attention on what you want, how you want things to go, and all of that to really capitalize on these benefic planets. In other words, positive influence planets. Making some shit happen. So you're really going to want to focus on your own stuff, your own self-love, your own compassion, your own getting out of your own way, your own getting out of your victimhood, your own shit. And so, like I said, being of service. What we got here, this is, oh, we haven't had this one in a long time. The Hierophant in reverse. I can never remember her name. She was an admiral, and I think she was the admiral from oh no, that wasn't the right episode. She was an admiral and she was only in like 2 episodes, I want to say. The Hierophant in reverse. And so it's not making commitments. Um, if it was upright, you'd be making commitments like long-term commitments. This is not making long-term commitments. And this is kind of what I said, right? I said this whole year Like you're gonna want to push towards something, but you're not gonna want to make a commitment because those Neptune and Saturn will retrograde back into Pisces. So it's not gonna be like um plus with the Mars Uranus square coming up, like I don't know, this doesn't seem like a very good time to make a solid commitment to anything unless like I don't know. Even I'm like holding off on a couple of things because I'm like, okay, are we there yet? Are we not quite, not quite. Trust your instincts, trust your gut, like, but I mean, I would say with this being the Hierophant, this is about being unconventional, being different, being unique. Pluto's in Aquarius. Stop fucking pretending like your uniqueness is unimportant. Stop victimizing yourself to your unique qualities and characteristics. There's a reason why you were made the way you were made. You have a natal chart that tells me that. Okay? You are meant to be weird. You're meant to be unique. It doesn't mean you need a label or a diagnosis or a set of criteria defined by some big wig in a lab coat to prove that. I've had a few people come at me lately about ADHD and then like, they give me their chart information, obviously, and I'm looking at their chart and they're like, well, do you think I should go get tested for ADHD? I'm like, well, yeah, you got a Gemini moon or you're a Gemini rising. So no, because Gemini, right? Like Geminis are all over the place. I think it's funny that I've connected with three or four Gemini something in their big three over the last 6 months of usually I get people with Aquarius placements, but lately I've had Gemini placements. So maybe they all know something because Gemini is about to, or Uranus is about to enter Gemini. So I just think it's amusing. Because Gemini might be one of the signs that I know the least about because I don't have any placements in Gemini. And so it's also a sign that I'm uncomfortable with because I don't really like Gemini energy. It's too fast. But I think that's the point is, you know, sometimes we get those lessons that way, right? Like I said, I wasn't comfortable with Gemini, so all of a sudden I get clients that have Gemini placements, right? Like you need to learn about Gemini, Sarah. So, yeah, but it's cool. It's all good. I love everyone who has different signs. I don't dislike people who have Virgo. I dislike Virgo for me. I don't like Gemini for me, but like I love Gemini people. So, there's that. Um, but yeah, so there's things I don't like for me personally, but like I can appreciate them in other people and how they manage it and whatnot. So maybe my whole lesson here was to learn from these Gemini people how to manage some fucking Gemini, right? Because ready or not, Uranus is just a few weeks away. All right, let's see what's up with the ancient feminine wisdom, and then we'll be done for this moon in Capricorn. So, all right, we got Themis, 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 Justice. Ooh, well, mm, Justice, balance, objectivity, zoom out so you can objectively see a situation as opposed to being so. Sometimes we get on our opinionated high horse and we're unwilling to see the other side of the situation objectively. We see it all from our own point of view. And I see this a lot in the disability community. We get a lot of blind people who, get like all, uh, you know, uppity about people who don't do, I was just having this conversation earlier, people who don't do audiobooks for their book release. They just release the print version, and you get a few blind people out there that get uppity about it. Like, you're not being fair to the print impaired, or blah, 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 but you're not objectively seeing the other side. You're not giving the whole situation justice. And by that, I mean that most people don't even know how to record an audio book. They don't know the software. They don't know what the studio setup needs to be. They don't know how to even get started. And if it wasn't even on their radar to think about it, they were thinking about publishing their book and how excited they were that they were publishing their book to print that they were working on. And then all of a sudden you come along as a blind person, like hot and wild, because that person didn't consider you specifically in their release, right? So I feel like it's like that's just an example story of like pull back, take a broader perspective. Number one, maybe that person just didn't know how to even get started recording an audiobook. Number two, it wasn't against you. They just didn't think about it. Like maybe they wanted to, but it didn't cross their radar. You know what I'm saying here? Like it's an opportunity to kind of pull back, take a little inventory, right? I could name a billion of these types of examples, all with accessibility, because I believe in universal accessibility. I don't believe accessibility is about disabled people. I think it's for everyone because everyone needs some form of accessibility at some point in their life. So it's justice. It's about seeing each side objectively. It's about having an objective way of looking at a situation. You don't know the other person's perspective. You don't know. And if you're unwilling to learn it because you're so pissed because you feel like they excluded you, you're doing yourself and them a disservice. So I kind of like that. I think there's a level of self-acceptance here. Somebody's needing to hear this, and I don't know who it is, but if you're watching this video, I want to hear from you because let me help you with some self-acceptance. But like we got the Lovers, which is about self-love. We got the Hierophant in reverse, something you're unwilling to acknowledge about yourself and your uniqueness or your unconventionality or whatever. And then this Justice, like you're unable to see things objectively because you're so caught up in your own victimy circumstance that you've built these hard ass walls around yourself that you don't have compassion or understanding for situations that because you don't know enough about them. You're not even willing to learn the other side of the situation to know, but you're just pissed because it affects you, right? So I hope that's helpful. I know there was probably a lot of hot button topics that I just nailed in that spiel, but I think it's important to really see every side of situations. I'm a very opinionated person, very opinionated, by the way, very, very opinionated. However, I really make an effort to see all sides, even if my opinion is very strong, I'm very headstrong, very stubborn. But I really try to make an effort to see both sides, even if it puts me in a place where I'm like, fuck, my opinion's wrong. And that's hard to be with, but I think it's something we can all practice. So, all right. Thanks for tuning in. I'll talk to you on the next one. Take care. See you next time.